Welcome to Cryptocurrencies, the Future of Digital Money show on PortfolioWealthGlobal.com. My name is Michelle Holliday. After speaking with one of the biggest pioneers in this business, Trace Mayer, and our interview with Dash expert Amanda B. Johnson, we are now thrilled to have as our guest today, Adam Meister. Adam is one of the foremost Bitcoin experts in the world today and the host of the Bitcoin Meister. Adam, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Adam, the entire market cap of cryptocurrencies was at $152 billion in August of 2017. How much of that is simply speculative money that does not know exactly what is being bought and why, but instead folks are seeing other people making money and they're just following suit?
Well, I'd say a tremendous amount of it is what one would call dumb money, people just following the leader. But the people that have purchased into Bitcoin in general know a little bit more. They tried to get in on the base level here and try to understand what's really going on. And that's what I advise people do. Don't just jump in because you heard, oh, XYZ cryptocurrency is going up like a madman. Try to get in on Bitcoin, the original, the one that everyone's copying, and try to understand how it actually works. Try to send it. Don't just treat it as a speculation. Treat it as a tool and an investment.
You have called Bitcoin the ultimate disruptor. Please tell us why.
Well, first of all, it's going to change the way banking is done, basically. People right now trust a third party to hold their wealth, which is the bank. With Bitcoin, you are not relying on a third party. You are taking the responsibility to control the destiny of your own wealth. So right now, these financial institutions that control your wealth, they can take it away at any time they want to. But if you have Bitcoin, if you control your own private address with Bitcoin, no one can take that away from you. And that is quite a difference. It is also going to wreak havoc on the traditional financial markets. Many people will want to get into Bitcoin instead of getting into stocks and bonds and more traditional methods. So there are big changes ahead, and I would definitely call that a disruption to the world we know today.
Adam, please tell us a little bit about your own background and what has led you on this path, because you admit that you are all about disruption and the economic revolutionary aspects of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. How did you come to this perspective?
Well, I guess I've always been a little bit of an outside-the-box type of thinker. I was really fascinated with the internet when it came out, when I was young, and I knew as a young person that, wow, this internet thing is going to change the world. And I got the same feeling with cryptocurrency later on, but more about my background. I was involved during the dot-com boom. I saw the housing boom. I've been involved with rejuvenating Baltimore City, something called the Buy a Block Project, where a bunch of us bought up run-down houses in a bad area and lived there, not just as investments, but actually lived the life. I've run for political office in Baltimore, so I've done a lot of different things, and I've seen a lot of different hype cycles, and I've seen a lot of different technology. And all of that history has put me in a position to kind of recognize this and to really be very comfortable with this and to see that this is an earth-changing, an earth-shattering type of moment that we're at. And it's still very early on in all this because, again, I can remember when the internet, before it was very usable, should we say, very user-friendly. And that's where Bitcoin is right now. So my background, I guess, puts me in a position to recognize things early on, to really enjoy revolutionary new aspects of life, and to just kind of live life a little bit differently than everyone else. And right now, getting into Bitcoin, getting into cryptocurrency, you're definitely not living once you jump into it, you're on a different route. You're outside the box. You're doing different things. So my background puts me in a good position to recognize that kind of stuff.
It really changes your perspective on economics throughout the world.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, it shows that I mean, we're talking about it being a disruptor again. I guess governments, they put so many limitations, or certain governments at least, put so many capital controls on people, so many financial restraints on people, and this is just a way around it. So that is another reason why this is such a huge disruption, that it's going to kind of break the government's monopoly on money and break the government's, bad government's, strict or strong hand control of money in certain countries. You know, the flow of money in and out will be totally disrupted by Bitcoin.
It's kind of scary, the typical, I guess, old school economics, because you look at countries like, Venezuela, which everyone knows has turned into a disaster. And so the perspective on cryptocurrencies entering right now during this age is interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean this is a time of in Venezuela we're having hyperinflation, and this is something I know personally on my show, on my Bitcoin Meister show on YouTube. I've had guests from Venezuela telling me what it's like on the ground there, and the Bitcoin totally puts them in a different financial position where they still have to deal with some of the realities of the hyperinflation, but it really protects them against the hyperinflation. They're not stuck with this useless fiat currency that's being printed out of, just insanely printed in Venezuela. Bitcoin is a sound money. It's deflationary. There's only going to be 21 million of it ever, which is totally the opposite of what's going on in Venezuela, where they keep printing it, and keep devaluing it every single day. So it is a tool against current event situations. I mean, I was in Zimbabwe. I was in southern Africa, not just Zimbabwe, but Mozambique, also, where they have a hard time getting money out of the country. And you see on the ground that people are already using it as a store of value, as a way to get money out of the country, as a way just to defeat all of their government's, foolish monetary policies.
A way to protect their wealth.
Yes, it is. It is a store of value. It is definitely, they are already, people in the United States are like, some people are like, I want to use it to buy coffee. In these other countries, it is a way to protect your wealth. And here it is. Here it is also. We have inflation, whether you like it or not. And again, banks can take a hair, take your money if they want to, because again, they control it. There have been countries where they take 10%, the banks take 10% of the money to bail in. They can have bail-ins. And so if you have Bitcoin, it protects you against your bail-in. Thus, you're protecting your wealth.
Now, you mentioned the finite nature of it, that there's only so many Bitcoins. There's something that's very interesting to me, that isn't it every 5 years?
Every 4 years, there's something called the Bitcoin halving, where the miners it's built into the program. First of all, there have been over 16 million mined so far, and there are only ever going to be 21 million of them. And every 4 years, the miners can only mine half as much as they used to. So the new supply being added on gets cut in half every 4 years. And this is a very predictable thing. The next one is in 2020. The previous one was in 2016. So last time there was a price rise, it basically doubled before the last halving. So we know there's going to be another halving again. Is it as simple as waiting around for the year 2020 to see your Bitcoin value at least doubling in terms of dollars? Perhaps it is. I tell people to be long-term holders of Bitcoin. Don't try to trade it now. Don't try to play games with it. Don't try to use it to buy other free cryptocurrencies that you don't understand. Just hold it. And that policy, if you've been holding since the beginning of the year, it was $1,000 at the beginning of the year. Now it's like $4,500. Look how good it's done just by not doing anything with it, just sitting. We have lost the value of savings in the Western world. It seems like everybody wants to, they'll earn $10 and then they'll want to spend $11. What happened to savings? What happened to the thrift? And this is the ultimate, tool to appreciate, financial tool that actually appreciates thrift and savings. So you're rewarded by saving, and it's going to get, you're not going to get printed out to oblivion. Quite the opposite. Less of your cryptocurrency, less of Bitcoin is going to be created every 4 years. So we'll see what happens in this 2020 halving. But I tell people, at least, think long term. Shoot for the year 2020 at least, because we have this real event that is coming where there was a doubling of value leading up to that event last time. So you should really wait and see what happens in 2020 at the very least.
And this is something that I rarely hear people talk about, the fact that not only is there just a certain amount of Bitcoin being produced, it's actually going to be decreased every 4 years, which I think is amazing.
Yes. And again, this is something people should know. This goes back to the first question about, is there a lot of dumb money coming into the space? And yeah, there clearly is, because people don't understand this one incredibly basic fundamental principle of Bitcoin that not all of the cryptocurrencies have. Some cryptocurrencies are inflationary and people are just buying them up like crazy. They just don't know. I mean, part of the original appeal of all of this is that it was deflationary. And now there's so many new people have jumped into cryptocurrency in the last 6 months that so much of the fundamentals are forgotten. So if you are just a fundamental saver, and you have a sound plan, you're going to be in great shape in this, because there are a bunch of other people doing crazy things and they're boosting up the price for the people who are just holding. So it's good. Benefit off of other people doing irrational things by doing rational things. Don't be impulsive.
Adam, please tell us all about your amazing YouTube channel.
Well, again, it's the Bitcoin Meister channel. I do a new Bitcoin show every day. The channel's been around since 2014, and I've been doing the shows pretty regularly since the end of 2015. Every day since the beginning of 2016, there's been a new show. So it's one of the most popular ones out there. I talk about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. I do the research. I live the Bitcoin life. I travel around the world talking about Bitcoin. Everything is, I consult about Bitcoin. If people can email me at adam@tresorhelp.com if they need a crypto consultation, they need help setting up their Bitcoin storage device. I give all sorts of advice on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It has become just a total in my life. But the flagship of my brand is the videos. So you can find it by going to disruptmeister.com. People call me the Bitcoin Meister. People call me the Disrupt Meister. But you can easily find me and all my videos at disruptmeister.com, or just searching for Bitcoin Meister on YouTube will turn out the same results. It's very popular. It's growing, and I'm really proud of it. It's educational. And again, I come up with original stories. I don't just copy other people's stuff. It's not the fanciest thing in the world, but it's hardcore information. So I'm not about being pretty and fancy and graphics. I'm about raw, awesome information that is going to benefit the mind and educating people.
Now, Adam, from your point of view, what type of investor does know what and why he is buying in terms of cryptocurrencies? And what is the most important reason for owning them? I know that you value the savings of them, but I'd really love you to go into that a little bit deeper. And would you still be buying if the price was falling?
Of course, if it was falling, of course, yes. But because you've got to think again in terms of there's a two-part question. If in terms of price and if you're buying or not, you have to think long term. Is this going to be worth more in the year 2020? And if the price was falling down to 1900 or something, I'd be like, of course it's going to be worth more in the year 2020. Of course, for me personally, that's my personal belief. So I would personally be buying if it was falling. But and it's not falling right. It's been rising quite a bit. So people have to make their own decisions. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. But going in, what type of person buys Bitcoin? Again, a lot of people are. The vocal people are traders, okay? People who just want to trade it and flip it, and that's what you hear about. But there's a silent majority out there. I call them the golden holders, people who were into precious metals, who just feel that it's like gold 2.0 or digital gold. And in a sense, it is. It is just this stable hedge against fiat currency. It is a way to save. It is a way to preserve your wealth. And that's why people buy gold right now. It is to preserve their wealth. It is as a hedge against inflation. So but it's better than gold. You cannot take your gold, on a plane with you, or to Mexico with you. You just can't do it. You're going to get stopped by the TSA or by the border, and you're going to get all sorts of questions, and they might confiscate it from you. It's not a very portable money, is it? But
right. And confiscation's a huge worry there.
Of course, but people have no idea if you have cryptocurrency with you. I mean, it's not a physical thing. So I mean, you can store it on a device, and we can get into that later. There are certain storage methods that are very, storage is a very serious thing, and that's why I consult and advise about that thing. But that issue. But again, it is Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, incredibly portable, undetectable. Basically, if you're traveling with it, I mean, you could memorize your private address in your head, and no one can stop that. So
no one can confiscate this.
No one can. If you control your own private address with Bitcoin, no one can take it from you, because they don't know your private address. And now if someone finds your private address, then it can be taken from you. But your private address, if you never tell anyone it, then it's safe. It's safe and sound with you. Only you know your private address. And you have to keep that private address quite private, or else if someone else finds out about it, they can easily snatch it from you. And
that's the pro, as opposed to gold, who someone can confiscate that when you're traveling, especially.
Gold is very confiscated. It's a physical item. It's not a secret code or anything like that. If someone suspects you have gold and they search your body and they find the gold, well, then they take the gold. If someone suspects you have Bitcoin, what can they do? They can just suspect it, unless you had, for some reason, your private address written down. And that's not a good idea. Again, I can go into the best practices when it comes to keeping your Bitcoin safe. You should never rely on a third party to hold your Bitcoin. That's the old method of money. That's the bank method of money. Bitcoin gives you the option to not rely on a third party to control your wealth. So I tell people you should store your Bitcoin on something called a hardware wallet. And it is a way that it anonymously stores your private address, that no one else can find it. And there are many different hardware wallets out there. There's one called the Trezor. There's one called the Ledger Nano. This is something that if a person has Bitcoin, they should really consider, because you can store it at Coinbase. That's a place where you can buy it also, but they control your private address. So in the end of the day, if the government ever came around to Coinbase and said, well, we know Adam Meister bought here and he's storing it here. We don't like Adam Meister. Give us his private key. Well, private address. Well, then, they'll give it away to the government because you relied on a third party. Now, I'm not saying Coinbase is bad or malicious or anything like that, but if the government came along, they're the ultimate power, and they could threaten a company, a centralized third party. Bitcoin is supposed to be decentralized. It's supposed to be relying on yourself. When you start to get centralized, when you start to depend on third parties to hold your Bitcoin, then you're putting yourself at risk.
Now, just to simplify this for our listeners, and especially for our listeners who are new to this sector, they, of course, heard about the cryptocurrencies, but they haven't yet stepped into it. What guidance, specifically step-by-step, would you give them?
I would say this. If you're in the United States of America, buy at Coinbase.com. And obviously, before that, do a little research into what this Bitcoin thing is. Try to go to you search YouTube, watch my channel, do a little Googling, but you go to Coinbase and you buy Bitcoin with your US dollar. It connects to your bank account. So that simplifies things a lot. That is an on-ramp. That is the easiest on-ramp for US citizens, is going to Coinbase and buying a little bit of Bitcoin, and you don't have to buy one whole Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, $10 worth of Bitcoin. That's the great thing about Bitcoin. It's infinitely divisible. So don't let the price of one Bitcoin turn you off. You can get much less than one Bitcoin at Coinbase. All right, so then you have your Bitcoin. I would then set up a free account at blockchain.info, a free wallet. Now that, again, is also a third party. It's a website where you set up a Bitcoin address. But there you can practice sending Bitcoin there. And it's great to be able to practice this. Once you've sent Bitcoin, it's quite an amazing experience. Now, once you've done that, now you have two accounts. You've got an account at Coinbase.com. You've got an account at blockchain.info. This was all free. Well, not purchasing the Bitcoin, but setting up the accounts is free. Then what you want to do is buy your hardware wallet, which is a physical storage device. And again, you can go to trezor.io, and that's a way to do it. To get a Trezor storage device. There are other storage devices. You can go to my website and search my videos for all sorts of links to different storage devices and discount codes. You can contact me. I can advise you on that stuff. It is a little complicated, but again, the easiest steps are go to Coinbase, buy your coin, set up a blockchain.info account, send some Bitcoin over there, and then finally, once you get comfortable with everything, buy a storage device. I use a Trezor, and trezor.io is their website.
That's amazing advice, because it can be very difficult for a newcomer to purchase Bitcoin. They just don't know what to do.
Oh, yeah, it's very intimidating right now. Bitcoin hasn't had its Netscape moment where it becomes, the user interface becomes easy. Back in the day, the internet was quite hard also until Netscape came out and made it very easy for people to get on the web. Well, Bitcoin really hasn't reached that point yet, but that's the great potential there. That just shows us how early we are in all of this. And someone is going to step to the plate. And maybe they'll be one of your listeners. They'll get in, they'll get super interested, they'll get addicted to it, and they'll come up with that user interface that makes it simple for everyone to understand and interact with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
And this leads me into my next question. Adam, what needs to happen in order for cryptocurrencies to become a $1 trillion industry? Is it just a matter of time, or are there technological and other obstacles standing in the way? And what are the upcoming challenges for this industry?
Well, yes, it is a matter of time, but during that time period, we have to come up with a better user interface. It has to be easy, so easy that your mother can use it, and that will happen. But it is a matter of time. User interface is very important. That is a challenge. Now, another thing that's going to bring Bitcoin to the mainstream is ETFs, just the traditional financial markets jumping into Bitcoin. These people aren't going to be able to resist for a while. They'll try to fight it, but then they won't be able to resist. And one by one, the challenge of governments and huge financial institutions kind of saying, kind of putting down Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because Bitcoin is a challenge to the authority that we're used to now, where financial institutions and governments control everything in terms of finance with an iron fist, and they're used to that paradigm. Well, eventually that is going to slip away. So they're going to fight it for a while. So that is a challenge, but more traditional financial markets are going to embrace it, though, one by one. And it'll kind of be a tsunami that pushes things in a very positive direction. So Bitcoin is going to win the fight. It can't be stopped. And they will realize that one day, and they'll join the party. Governments, in fact, will one day join the party also and buy it like they buy gold as a store of value, just as another way to increase their own wealth. And so we're very early on in all of this. So it is a matter of time. So people need to be patient. And again, they just get in that hold mentality, that savings mentality.
Where is the blockchain technology going to be applied to next? What are you hearing and seeing in development?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of people like to bounce the word around, the blockchain word around. It is, people try to put everything on the blockchain. They say, oh, I'm going to put my medical records on the blockchain, but do this on the block. Some of this stuff is completely unnecessary. You would just need a centralized database for this kind of thing. I would say this: money is the most important thing on the blockchain right now. Let's get through that. We're so early on in that part of the revolution. Let's see how that progresses. A lot of people, again, they're talking about all sorts of things they want to put on the blockchain. It's just hilarious, some of the stuff. It's just a way for people. It's a catchphrase for people to use so people fund their company, and it's been working. But there are no valid projects out there that are doing other things with the blockchain. There are no real products out there other than value on the blockchain, other than money on the blockchain, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. That's the thing that's out there. It's really using blockchain technology right now. So don't get scammed into investing into some company that's going to change the world through blockchain that has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. Don't get into that. Just keep it simple, people. Keep it simple. When you hear blockchain, just think Bitcoin, think cryptocurrency. You'll be in great shape.
Yeah, when you hear blockchain applied to your prescriptions, it's probably not a good thing.
No, yeah, I mean, there's certain things that shouldn't be shared. I mean, these are public blockchains. It's about everyone, about information being decentralized. That means the information is everywhere. So there's benefits to that, but there's some things you don't want to have everywhere.
Right. Now, Adam, going back to something you mentioned just a moment ago, what is the worst thing that governments can do right now to inflict damage upon this sector? Can they stop it? And who would they attack? And would they issue their own currency?
Well, this is a good question. What they can do right now to slow things down is try to scare people by saying it's illegal, or try to shut down on-ramps like Coinbase. So if you said Bitcoin was illegal, people would still buy it somehow. Now, if you said Coinbase and on-ramps where you use US dollars online to buy Bitcoin, if you shut them down, then all of a sudden people are going to have to find a new way of buying it. It's going to be quite a disruption. And that would hurt Bitcoin, but there will be ways around that. People will find ways around it, go to other countries, buy it on the street. There's already a site, localbitcoins.com, where you can arrange meetings with people to just buy the Bitcoin from them in person, which is great. So governments, that's what they can try to do, but it is not. I will say this again. They will see that eventually it is not possible. They can slow it down, maybe. They can scare people. But I would just keep it in mind. And again, governments should be embracing it. That's the best thing they can do. They shouldn't try to fight it. And right now, the United States government is pretty good toward Bitcoin. I would say it isn't trying to hinder it very much. There have been some laws. There's been some regulation, but a hands-off approach is the best approach by a government, I say, for now. Let it grow, and let's see what happens. By the way, what was the second part of your question? Repeat that question again. There was something else I wanted to say.
Do you think they would issue their own currency?
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So I think it is very possible that governments throughout the entire world, they're enamored, or at least certain people in their governments, the more intelligent members of the bureaucracies know about Bitcoin, know about cryptocurrency, and they are enamored with it. They've caught this blockchain admiration disease, I guess, also. So they want to make everything digital. They do want to make their currency digital because it gives them more control. So they want to have their own private cryptocurrencies, their own government cryptocurrencies that are centralized. Now, that is different than Bitcoin. So, yes, I believe governments are going to issue their own cryptocurrencies, but they're going to be a little bit different. They're going to be centralized. And so there's going to be a crypto dollar one day, or a Fed coin, whatever you want to say. And their goal will be getting rid of paper money. And maybe they will be able to get rid of paper money and shut off people's Fed coins if they want to. But the option will still be out there for the smart people to get involved in private cryptocurrencies. There's going to be nothing stopping people from getting involved in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The governments will have lamer versions of cryptocurrencies, but you won't be forced into them. You'll still be able to transact in your private cryptocurrency, but there'll still be plenty of people that'll just do what the government says, use the Fed coin, and just be at their mercy. So if you get stuck in the Fed coin paradigm, then that's not too fun. But hey, if you stick with the Bitcoin, you'll be in fine shape. And again, the governments can't stop Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. They can copy it. They will copy it. And it'll be your choice what to do.
I think you answered this question yourself by saying stay out of it. But what is the best thing that governments throughout the world could do regarding cryptocurrencies besides leaving them alone?
I think besides leaving cryptocurrencies alone, they could create incentives for cryptocurrency companies to start up in their countries, because this is such a huge and growing industry. There's so much potential in it. Again, it hasn't had its Netscape moment. So if you were to encourage companies that are involved in the space to enter your country, to just say, hey, you got free, do what you got to do here, you're going to end up with a multi-billion-dollar winner in your country. And that is going to just help your country's just the people. It'll create jobs. I mean, if you tax unfortunately, countries love to tax their companies. It'll bring in tax revenue. So I think the best thing that they can do is just get on board on the train and encourage entrepreneurial building around cryptocurrency. Entrepreneurship around cryptocurrency, because there's so much potential in it. Because governments are always trying to, all these politicians themselves should try to embrace it, try to use the word more, try to make it more friendly. I mean, they'll be seen as the pioneers, especially politicians who are local now, who want to become bigger deals. I would say, get into Bitcoin. This is the beginning of something that you could really be well known for. And if you get a bunch of cryptocurrency companies to enter your little district, I mean, you'll be looked at as a hero one day, because again, this thing is just we're at the tip of the iceberg right now. It's growing right now. So governments don't usually take an entrepreneurial viewpoint of life, but hey, do that this time around. Why not?
That's an amazing answer. That is an amazing answer.
Thank you.
I mean,
I think I try to think differently than most people. That's the kind of answers you get from the Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister.
Yes, they do. Adam, so many people seem to take such a negative view of the changes happening in the world today. And one of the things that I love most about your shows is that you see all of this as so positive and such exciting opportunities.
Oh my God. It's like there's never been such an exciting opportunity. This is bigger than the internet. So yeah, a lot of people say, oh, there's going to be hyperinflation. There's going to be the end of the world is coming soon. I have to hunker down. That's not the mentality I preach. You got to look on the bright side of things. And there's a huge bright side of things. People try to say, oh, Bitcoin might be a government conspiracy. Why even bring that up? Why worry about such nonsense so in the end of the day, what does that bring you? You talk about conspiracy theories, you end up with nothing. If you actually get out there, you end up with Bitcoin, you end up doing something, you end up building a business. So you can either end up staying in a basement doing nothing and just talking, or actually doing something and owning something and building something around there. I mean, I don't see, to me, there's not even a choice there. You're going to be proactive. I guess some people just like to sit and complain. I don't understand that mentality. And I try to get people into the doer mentality. And this is the ultimate doer thing, because one day people are going to look back and say, well, I wish I did something at the beginning of this. I wish I was part of it. People to this day, or people come to me now and say, well, it used to be $1, so I missed out. I'm like, no, don't think of it that way. Think of it this way, where it is so hard to use right now. We're way at the early adopter stage, and we are way at the early adopter stage. So people will look back. I mean, I remember when people were saying, oh, $700 is so much, I missed out. My God, now are they saying that? Those same people were saying, oh, I missed out on $700. They're probably saying, oh yeah, I missed out on 2,000 or 700. It used to be lower than $700. When it was $700, people were saying I already missed out. Well, now they look back at $700, they're probably saying, oh, I missed out on $700. I mean, it's a repeating thing. You don't want to have the missed out mentality. You want to have the doing mentality.
Exactly, the missed out mentality. Great way to put it. Adam, what is your next price target for Bitcoin and why?
Well, I don't try to. I just say it's going to be higher in 2020. I don't try to get people's hopes up. All these people, I don't create the titles to my videos just to get people to click on them. The clickbait ones that are like $100,000 Bitcoin next year, $1 million Bitcoin. Now, I'm not into making it. I don't want to get people's hopes up that much. Let's just say I believe it's going to be worth more in the year 2020. And then again, more in the year 2024, because every 4 years, the supply that's produced gets cut in half. I think that's a basic thing that people have to understand. I mean, I would love to see it to get to 5 digits by 2020. I would love to see that. I mean, but again, I'd be happy with just being, $6,000. I don't care, just so it's more than today. I mean, again, we're talking about. In the old days, people used to be real happy with, 4% gains a year or whatever. I mean, we're talking, this thing has been doubling and stuff. So if it gets back to normal, growth rates, I mean, that's great too. Just to, but it's exciting. It's exciting to know that the potential is out there for it to keep on going at insane rates, because less than 1% of the world population have Bitcoin, much less than 1%. So clearly there's huge potential there. I mean, people can do the math themselves.
This is insanely exciting. It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a life changer. I mean, and I encourage people to really get into it. There's so much, you can build businesses around it. There's so many businesses yet to be built around Bitcoin. Just like in 1996, there were so many businesses that were yet to be built around the internet. There were hardly any businesses in 1996, 97, 98. It wasn't until 99 and 2000, during the dot-com thing, that people started really building businesses, and then they didn't really become sustainable. And now everything is built around the internet. All businesses are. So that's where we are in cryptocurrency right now. We haven't even started to build stuff around it yet.
Adam, from your perspective, what kind of businesses are you speaking of to be built around Bitcoin?
One of the easiest things I see out there is just educating people, building businesses that teach people how to use it and just simplify it, building user interfaces that make you're able to interact with it. Marketing people need to come into Bitcoin and build marketing businesses just to spread the word about Bitcoin, and PR agencies that deal with spreading the word. And so there's all different. It's not just technical people. Obviously, if you have a technical background, you're going to do well. If you're a programmer, you're going to be needed in the Bitcoin world, in the cryptocurrency space. But there are other not so obvious things to outsiders, but to insiders like me, that are needed right now, like educational businesses right off the bat. Anyone can get into that. You just got to learn about it first, and then be able to teach people about it. Just ways of simplifying it for people.
Adam, this has been amazing to have you on the show, and I'm a huge fan. How can our listeners follow you to hear your advice, your perspectives going into the future?
All right, there's a few different ways. Disruptmeister.com. That'll get you all my videos. And there's a new video posted every day. Look me up at Bitcoin Meister on YouTube. That will also get you all my videos. Look me up on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt, TechBalt. I do lots of awesome Twitter tweets during the day. I follow all the great minds out there and retweet them, and you can learn a lot. And finally, Adam at TresorHelp.com. Trezor, again, is the name of the storage device that I recommend and that I use. So I teach people through my business how to store on the Trezor, how to use it, how to set it up. It's not that easy to set up. But again, Adam at TresorHelp.com is my email address. I do crypto consultations for people who want to learn about cryptocurrency, for more advanced users, for people in between. I do all sorts of consultations things, so people can ask me questions. Adam@tresorhelp.com.
Adam, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and it was a pleasure to be on today.
Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister himself. For the Cryptocurrencies, the Future of Digital Money show, I'm Michelle Holliday at PortfolioWealthGlobal.com.